But let's dive right into football. Patrick, I think the statement win of the season for Alabama last year was this Georgia game. It was kind of Kalen DeBoer's basically coming out party. They won it. They won it in a solid fashion, but it was a bit ugly. Got out to a big lead and then had to protect it late. This game in Athens, I felt like not necessarily dominated, but they were in control for the entire game there and got a chance to once again knock off Kirby Smart.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alabama had this one pretty comfortably from the get-go.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk a little bit about Ty Simpson here in a minute, but he looked really good. And it's definitely a sight for sore eyes for Alabama because you're starting to see a guy really blossom into this quarterback that you knew he could be coming out of high school. But to go into Athens, Georgia, and pick up a win like that after the turmoil of week one, everyone writing you off. I'm going to quote my guy, Geno Smith. They wrote me off, but I ain't right back, though. I mean, I think they jumped out to 14-0 lead.
Yeah.
And while the final score was 24-21, it had the feel of last year where it's like, okay, Bama jumps out. They look hot right out the get-go. Georgia had the touchdown to make it 14-7. But you felt like Alabama had this one pretty comfortably from the get-go. And, I mean, it's got to be a great thing to see if you're Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
I mean, your team answered the bell after week one's loss and has slowly started to progress into this Alabama team that, could make it's weird to say Alabama's going to make a sneaky run towards the college football playoff, but, it feels like they can definitely bounce back and make an actual run.
Yeah, and I think what they've done really kind of, in my opinion, is almost twofold, where they were able to answer the bell about being on the road. It felt like this team had just been bludgeoned on the road the last time out in their season opener against Florida State in Tallahassee. They go back on the road and they answer the call. And also, number two, I like the creativity of the offense. I mean, it was everywhere. They had different packages. Ty Simpson ran for a touchdown. You had that great pass to Caden Proctor, who ended up going down to the 2-yard line. The big man almost scored. I was actually rooting for him to score.
I mean, we're pulling out all the stops. It almost seems like Ben Johnson's back in college football with getting the linemen involved. But I mean, it's just it was a great sight to see for Alabama fans. The fact that you can go in, you disrupt that home win streak, and I mean, I'm gonna deviate here a little bit. There was one thing that annoyed me the entire game.
Okay.
And it was that annoying, ominous sound. I forget what movie it's from. But it sounded like Georgia was just
like
piping
Jaws?
it in.
What was it?
No, it wasn't Jaws. It was like one of those war movies.
Okay, so I have to go back and watch it because as I was watching it, I was in a really, really loud space and there was a lot of people around. So we heard the announcer sound, but unless I was in a quiet space, I wasn't able to hear the music that was being played over the speakers. And so,
I mean, it sounded like every second or third down they were piping it in. And honestly, by the end of the first quarter, I was like, okay, man, you can stop hitting that button now. I think we get it.
Was it on third downs? Was it the Undertaker music? Was the Undertaker?
No, it wasn't the Undertaker.
Okay, yeah.
It's from some war movie. I'll get you the name of it in the break. But it was just like, man, I think he probably played it 40 to 45 times during the game. And I'm like, it loses its meaning. Okay, it was cool in the beginning. Okay, like the next 5 times, it's like, okay, still kind of cool. But then after that, I'm like, oh my goodness, dude, stop hitting the button.
I love it.
Like, we get it.
No button, music, no music. Kalen DeBoer and company got the job done there in Athens, Georgia. We got a chance to hear from the Alabama head coach after the game.
They do a great job in the run game. You knew that they were going to try to really hold the line of scrimmage, both defensively and then control it offensively. And so they did a nice job. But you play every play as its own play. You play every game as its own game. There's nothing that carries over. There's nothing that carries over into that situation. So just do your job, be fundamental, play with great energy, and make things happen. We didn't sit back on our heels and just hope that, they didn't execute. We went out there and attacked it and made a play.
What I really like about Kalen DeBoer is that he might be the most consistent coach right now in all of college football. And there were so many people that were making what I would consider very lazy arguments at the beginning of the season when they were like, he's got to show some fire. He's got to almost having to channel this Nick Saban thing that is just not him. But what I really like about him and his style is that, like, they take everything head on. He just says straight up, you know, we got to be better. When we played, when they played against Florida State, they had to be better. When they played against their second game in La Monroe, they like what they did. We have to be better. And then after a big win, it's the same demeanor. Like,
exactly.
we can't carry things over. We have to just be better. He just stays on message, and I really like the fact that he doesn't let all this outside noise that was there a month ago get to him at all. And I find that demeanor really refreshing in college football because it is so easy to ride the highs and lows.
Yeah, and I mean, one guy that takes after his head coach is this guy right here, Ty Simpson, because honestly, everything that you just said can also be applied to him.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Simpson, I wouldn't say he had a horrible first game, but like the team, the whole team just played bad.
Sure.
And then slowly he had the next game against La Monroe where he didn't not complete a pass. I think he went, 16 for 16?
17 for 17,
yeah. And then he had a nice game against Wisconsin.
Right.
And then here against Georgia, it was just like, man, this is a guy that's in his first year of being the starting quarterback. I mean, he looks like he looks like Mac Jones back in the day when he was just orchestrating, being a game manager, getting the ball out to your weapons on the outside, and then also threatening with the legs. So, I mean, it's just it's been impressive to see how fast he's started to develop in the SEC.
Right, and he's got several weapons, of course, and everybody knew about Ryan Williams coming into the season. But take a look at a guy like Horton, who has had a couple of big games. Jeremy Bernard, who's had some awesome games as well. And you're seeing Ty Simpson's numbers. He has an abundance of players to throw the football to, and they all really, really trust him. You see the final score there and his final numbers: more than 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 2 through the air, handing Georgia its first loss in 6 years between the hedges there. The last time was pre-COVID. 2019 in a double overtime game.
2019 feels like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it really does. It really does in a lot of different ways. Speaking as a Cubs fan, we haven't been to the playoffs since then. So yeah, it really has. And so depending on how you frame it, that's the history that they were able to make going into this season. Meanwhile, on the other side, Patrick, I find it really interesting because everybody keeps hammering Georgia and hammering Kirby Smart because I think he's now 1-7 against Alabama throughout his career, or 1-9 as you see it there versus Alabama. Alabama's won the last 3, and it feels like you can make those arguments. Does Bama have Kirby's number? Change the code. But the results don't change. Kirby Smart now 0-2 against Kalen DeBoer. What do you make of where Georgia goes from here? We knew they were a young football team, but where do they go from here after that loss between the hedges?
You know, I feel this loss, I felt like it was coming because Alabama needed their get-back game. They needed their game that they needed to prove that, hey, week 1 was just a fluke. But, you know, it feels like a punch in the face for Georgia because you just had that thrilling win. You were coming off the bye week after a thrilling win against Tennessee in a game where it's like, okay, we can still compete in the SEC after losing our quarterback that was there for the last 2 years. And it's just like you kind of take a step back in a way. Alabama played well on the defensive side as well. There were a couple blitzes that came back to haunt them, but it just feels like Georgia took a little bit of a step back in this game, which was a little bit of a surprise for me. The result really wasn't a surprise in my eyes. I still thought Alabama would win, but I thought it was going to be a higher scoring game.
Yeah, the score fell about where I thought it would. I was kind of surprised, though, too, just once again, it just felt like Georgia was playing behind the 8 ball, and you thought that maybe you'd get off to a quicker start, considering what happened the year before. They just weren't able to. I still really like Georgia's chances moving forward. We got a chance to hear from Kirby Smart, the veteran coach for the Georgia Bulldogs, after the game as well.
No, hurting is hurting. It doesn't matter what age you are. You know, the more invested you are, the more you hurt. My question is, what are you going to double down on? You know, it's a different day and age of college football. Like, it's completely different out there. We've accepted it as coaches. We have to do a good job of the players responding to it. And, you know, what do you double down on? I know more about my team right now than I did a week ago. I can guarantee you that. And that's what fires me up. And I got a lot of optimism after that game because I learned a hell of a lot more about my team than I had the previous weeks.
So for Georgia, it's about building.
Yeah.
And he knows he's got a young squad, and he's saying all the right things. I think Kirby will have his guys in the right place as they move forward.
Yeah, just got to get off to that fast start, as you mentioned, falling behind the 8 ball, not only in just the last 2 matchups against Alabama, but this year. I mean, you do go back to that Tennessee game, and Joey Aguilar lit it up early on. Georgia was able to come back and win the game, but, you know, it almost felt like it was just too much to ask for, getting down in that 14-0 hole early and looking for another comeback.
Absolutely. Lessons learned from both sides, especially there in Georgia. Meanwhile, Alabama, they'll move on to play Vanderbilt this week. It's one of our topics going into today.